Of the, well, young names in the world of darts. Bergh, a two-time world youth champion. Hayden has met Dmitri a couple of times on the development tour, but two men who perhaps are trying to progress from that sort of future potential star mantle. Bergh, of course, making far greater strides, one of the seeded players in this tournament, a top 32 player, and he was drawn out against an amateur qualifier. You'd have to say it's a decent draw for Dmitri, because some of the seeded players, Paul Nicholson, didn't get the kind of draws they were hoping for.
Yeah, that's very fair, considering who is on the main stage this evening. I think a couple of those big hitters will think that could have been kinder. I'm talking, of course, say MVG versus Aspinall. That couldn't have been more tantalising if it was cooked up by Gordon Ramsay. I do, however, love Rhys's nickname, because it just rolls off the tongue nice.
Yeah, it fits with the walk-on song. Rhys Hayden, we are going to see the... I was going to say we're going to see the bull. I thought that's what I heard Russ Bray say, but my ears have deceived me. Hayden won the bull in the practice room and throws first in this match. Welcome, by the way, if you are joining us on the PDC Facebook page. We are going to show you the first match of this evening's session here on stage 2 for free, and if you want to watch the rest of the action, all you need to do is head over to the PDC website, pdc.tv, and bag yourself a weekend pass. $2.99. You'll see all of the remaining matches on stage 2 tonight, and live and exclusive coverage from this stage tomorrow. We're going to see some of the world's best players, Paul. I know that Michael Van Gerwen and Nathan Aspinall are going to lock horns on the main stage on ITV4, but we have got the likes of Dave Chisnell, Stephen Bunting, and a brilliant final match on stage 2 tonight between Krzysztof Ratajski and Chris Dobie. And of course, we're about to see some of the bigger names tomorrow, because, well, there's not room for them all to play on the main stage.
No, there isn't. All you've got to do is look at some of the other boards to see who's been squeezed away from stage 1 and stage 2. And as Dmitri does the sensible thing of going away from that treble 20 because the second dart was dangling in, someone like Mensa Sulovic, for instance, gone to stage 3, Adrian Lewis on stage 5, and Rob Cross, of course, he's on stage 5 as well against Neil Zonneveld. But Bergh, they're going to get an early break. Is he going to have a crack? He doesn't need to. He's got a huge lead. But when you're Dmitri, you can do what you want.
What a start here on stage 2. Never mind the big hitters, the big names over on the main stage. We've just had the big fish here for starters on stage 2. Dmitri Bergh taking out the 170 in leg 1.
Well, what did Alberto Tomba used to say? It's all downhill from here. You don't know who Alberto Tomba is, do you?
I'm just hoping it's not all downhill from here.
He was a very good downhill skier.
I see. Now that does make sense.
Should have said Lindsey Vonn.
Rhys Hayden has been given a glimpse into life on the big stage in the PDC. He has beaten Dmitri Bergh before. They've met twice on the development tour and have a win each under their belts over the last couple of years. Hayden, as Russ Bray mentioned in his introduction, one of 2 amateur qualifiers to make it this far. He is starting off rather nervously, it has to be said. The other one is Louis Williams, who had a fantastic run. Hayden to get here, but he played 2 of the other, I'm going to say, so-called amateur qualifiers. That is a route that they've come through, but if you're going to call James Richardson an amateur, then I'm not sure that bill fits. But he beat Richardson in the second round, having seen off Jamie Clark 6-5 in the first. And the most impressive of the results, a 6-2 win against Spain's Tony Alcinas.
Yeah, Tony always dangerous. And that is a nice little feather into the cap of Rhys Lighting. This sight on camera is invaluable to look at the technique of these 2 players. Just look at Bergh next time around. The flight of the dart doesn't drop below the chin level as he brings it back. Perfect technique. But if you look at Rhys, for instance, there's a big dip of the lead elbow, and that flight and the dart comes way below chin level, and that's where you lose control of the dart. He's a good 2 or 3 inches sometimes underneath the level of his eye line, and to say that if Rhys was to improve, I would say that the backlift of the technique would probably have to shorten to something like that of Dmitri.
92.
Well, he's just had a 170 checkout hit against him. Hayden looking at 140 to level things up. He'll be happy enough from here to leave a ton, but would have to rely on Bergh not cleaning up a simple 60.
Well, if you're Dimmy here, you'll be looking at a portion of the single to try and leave plenty of space. That's half decent, but he does need to move. You saw it brush the flight. And now you get the feeling that Rhys just needs to find that first double or bullseye just to get the juices flowing in a positive manner.
Both players just taking the time before approaching the oche. We know that Bergh does that quite a lot. But Hayden off the mark there. Has he been able to rescue it? He has. A wonderful rescue act from Rhys Hayden to complete the 95 combo. 17 with the first start, left him 78. Treble 18 followed by double 12, one apiece.
One thing you'll notice about Rhys through this match, he's very intense. I think the word try has to be in capital letters and in bold, because he gives everything every time. His other half is in the crowd. Josie, daughter of Lorraine Winstanley. I'm sure she's feeling the nerves right now. She's a dart player herself. I actually had the privilege of sitting with Rhys and Josie at Q School. Spent a bit of time with them. Lovely people.
134.
Hard to say whether this is the biggest match that Rhys has played so far in his career. We'll probably have to look back at his profile and maybe look at some other potential matches that he's had, but this is an excellent opportunity to get into UK Open Saturday.
Bergh trying to rectify the fact that he surrendered his throw, and poised to make it 3 consecutive breaks in this match. Both players 25 years of age now. 32 is usually a friend of Dmitri Bergh's, and it proves to be the case here. Another break of throw. You just get the feeling this match is going to be all about the Belgian.
Dmitri was, of course, very close to home last week when he was playing in the Belgian Darts Championship. Something like a 5-minute drive away from where he lives. That's what I was informed.
121.
Didn't win the tournament, but I'm sure was very proud to have played in a European Tour event in his home country.
134.
Just seems to be the more consistent in the early parts of this match. Rhys still trying to find that first dart.
It is Hayden's first foray into a PDC major tournament. He did appear at the Lakeside at the BDO World Championship back in 2015. Was beaten 3-2 by Jim Widmeyer.
Yeah, he is from the United States. I think he's an officer of the law, is Jim Widmeyer. Good player, very good friend of Jeff Smith's and most of the North American contingent.
Well, Jim went on to beat Rick Hofstra in the next round, before eventually losing out to Wolfie Martin Adams. No disgrace in that. Hayden got close to him on that occasion.
100. Make sure you require 101.
All right, where does Dmitri go? He's looking at 19s. So now, single 17 will
61.
leave tops. I don't mind that route when your opponent is on a, say, a 5% shot. And what I mean by that is he's going to get a shot at a double from a 1-4-1 probably 1 time out of 10 and convert it 5 times out of 100.
This for the first hold. Edging his way closer.
He won't be happy with any of those shots. We have to admit that. Way too high. Good 1.5 centimetres too high, and then a 1.5 centimetres too low. Didn't really scare it. And Rhys has been given an extra chance. Tops.
37.
Well, he got the chance. He didn't take it. And Dmitri van den Bergh denies him another and has an early hold on this match with the first hold of the match. However, unlike this afternoon, it is now a race to 10 legs.
It's a format that a lot of players won't be too familiar with that are left in the draw, but the top guys, the high world ranked guys, they'll be used to this format, not through just this event, but the first round of the World Match Play is best of 19 as well. And the World Match Play is somewhere that Dmitri van den Bergh has never played, which is quite ridiculous when you think about it. But you've got to feel that van den Bergh maybe has more experience of playing long format pressure darts than Rhys does. So with that in mind, maybe there's no pressure on Rhys in this game.
There are games going on across the other 7 boards. Gerwyn Price against Danny Noppert is on the main stage. I can tell you that Jelle Klaasen has raced into a 5-2 lead against William Borland over on board 6. Ian White 3-1 up against Harry Ward. Bradley Brooks 3-1 up against Kyle McKinstry. And Luke Humphreys, who is having an excellent couple of days, 4-1 up against Andy Bolton.
That Kim Huybrechts against Ryan Searle game looks pretty dishy at 3 each. I think that one could go to all 19 legs.
Well, are we going to see Dmitri van den Bergh take out a second big fish finish?
Well, didn't Michael van Gerwen take 2 out against Rob Cross? So that's the record. I want someone to do 3. We're going to have to wait. But Rhys needs the same 2 60s to set up a leg-winning shot on double 16. Not the only way you can get it, of course. Could go 251's bull if you're feeling a little bit fruity.
57, 57, 38.
Yeah, that's the Keegan Brown route.
86. Make sure you require 90.
Conventional wisdom here is to aim at treble 20. Van den Bergh does that. He'll do it again. 2 singles leave the bull.
65.
Well, like you coined earlier, Murph, he put it on the green, he just didn't hit the hole.
Will he get the chance to roll it in? Well,
double 14.
38. Make sure you require
Not 100% certain on that bull double 8 shot at that point. Might have been better advised to go for a treble. Got a shot at a double anyway and has missed it, but van den Bergh has a guide for 8s. A shot which he used to perfection. Really accurate, with maybe a third of the bed to aim at from that angle.
Dmitri van den Bergh is making only his 3rd appearance in this tournament. You mentioned, Paul, he really used to struggle qualifying for it in the days when we had the first 6 floor events of the year as UK Open qualifiers, and he's not a renowned floor player, is he, Dmitri van den Bergh? But you may remember that last year he reached the last 16 here in Minehead. Some impressive wins along the way as well. 6-0 against Kirk Shepherd, 10-5 against Ricky Evans at this stage, pipped Mensa Suljovic 10-9, and then was only beaten 10-8 by Steve Beaton, who plays Gary Anderson tonight.
That Dmitri versus Suljovic game on the stage last year was just sensational. Arguably the best game of last year's tournament.
57.
Yeah, there are some very tasty matches indeed set up for this evening. Some of them on this stage 2, some of them on the outside boards, as you mentioned earlier, but I think the draw that caught everybody's eye was Michael van Gerwen against Nathan Aspinall.
Yeah, it's quite a good game, isn't it? Good games wherever you go, really, and there's opportunities for so many people to go deep in this tournament and change their careers, change their seasons. Van den Bergh just seems so strong with that first dart at the moment. He's outscoring Rhys and strangling him a little bit in the early and middle parts of legs. But that's excellent stuff from Rhys Hayden. Intelligent use of the dartboard to get himself to a finish. I really admire that.
Well, it gets him to a finish, but he's not going to have a chance to take it out because Dmitri van den Bergh seems to be enjoying a stroll in the park so far.
Well, the lucky man from the draw at around about 20 past 5 was Martin Atkins, who came through a brilliant match this afternoon where he took out 138 on double 9 to win the match by the odd leg, and then in the draw he got the bye that was gifted to someone via the withdrawal of Max Hopp. So Martin Atkins sitting in his apartment thinking, you guys just duke it out tonight, I'm already into Saturday.
Yeah, that is certainly a stroke of luck. Max Hopp withdrawing because of glandular fever. We wish him a speedy recovery, but Atkins a beneficiary, and not only did it put him into the final day, but it doubled his prize money from £2,000 to £4,000.
Should be the easiest £2,000 he's ever made.
And in the last leg he didn't get a chance at the 167. This time he doesn't have to take it out.
93.
Seems to me like Dmitri's just shaking his foot off the gas a little bit in this leg. I always thought, you know, Murph, that when he played in the World Cup with Kim Huybrechts and he showed a little bit more animation, he looked very, very good, and he just doesn't seem to use that kind of tactic on stage enough. Sometimes he looks too tense and he has to find a way to release that. But this would be cruel. Double 14. Oh, it wasn't close, but what an effort from Dmitri.
This is huge. I think it might be fair to say that this has to go. And it has gone, and that is very mature, very assured, and very impressive from Rhys Hayden.
Did you have any doubt that a left-hander would miss double 10? Just think about the lefties who love double 10. There's so many of them. Webster, Wade, Palfrey,
57.
Les Wallace. They all love double 10. Every one of them.
So my mate Dan Dawson's a lefty, and he rarely hits double 10 unless he's going for treble 20.
Well, Van den Bergh surely has to have a goal to get to at the break. After 10 legs, there will be a short interval. And from 5-2, if it was me, I'd want to be 7-3 up. That would be my target, to put myself within 3 of the match. I would have been flabbergasted if he hadn't got the 180 there. It was so inviting. It was like hitting the goalposts, or in between the goalposts from about 10 yards away.
That's his second of this match, Dmitri van den Bergh, and indeed of the tournament going into this round. Ryan Searle had hit 7. Scott Waite's 8. 7 of those in one match. Back-to-back from the Belgian.
96.
Doesn't mind back-to-back. He won both of his World Youth titles in this complex. On the main stage, of course. Double 16. He's been here before.
Score. Race you require 147.
Well, will we see a 147 break?
Doesn't need 15 reds and 15 blacks. He does need a green.
95. Make sure you require.
Bergh can't afford to miss this time. Hayden lurking. Measures it up. Now it's awkward. Oh, great shot. Really admire that, because he didn't move. He could see enough from where he was standing. The conviction was very good, and that target I mentioned of being 7-3 up at the break, very possible now.
Yes, very much in his sights, and it has been a comfortable performance so far. Bergh Hayden not really offering much in terms of opposition, it has to be said. He's averaging less than 80 after 8 legs.
He's just not missing big trebles at the minute. He had a couple of 180s in the last leg and a 177 right there. Doesn't matter what Rhys Hayden does. Looks like Dmitri's got the answer. But Hayden, 2 140s to start. He's showing us why he's still in this tournament.
Yeah, much better leg from him. Bergh, very, very unfortunate to have seen that flick off the flight and divert the path of the dart. He has hit 6 trebles, but is not on a 9-darter.
He's got to be careful here, Rhys. 19s maybe. You can go 25 in bull if he wishes, but 19s is probably the right play here.
54.
Another 180 behind he. So heavy on the scoring, and even when he's hitting the 60, it's looking inviting. It's always hitting the right portion of it.
Yeah, Rhys always seems to be on a big finish. This time the big finish is on. Well, that was a whisker away. Would have sat right alongside the 170 match opening checkout produced by his opponent. Small margins, but the margin in this match looks like being increased.
Not quite. And maybe after that brave effort on the 167, Rhys Hayden deserves this chance. A chance from this position, 6-2 down, that he cannot miss. Lefties like 10s. And he's left 10s.
See if the Paul Nicholson formula is correct. They never miss, Paul. They never miss.
Completely deliberate from Rhys Hayden. Just going 5, 6, 7. Just so happens that it was double 7.
Well, he will have to settle for 7-3 at best now, but whisper it quietly. If Hayden can somehow earn himself a break of throw here, we have a very, very different match to the one that seemed to be developing.
I couldn't agree more. The chasm that 7-3 is against the very doable situation of 6-4 down. This leg is huge.
Sometimes, Paul, when you're playing at a decent standard and seemingly on course to win easily, you can switch off, can't you, and kind of get dragged into your opponent's level, and the likelihood is that they're not going to play at that level for the rest of the match, as Rhys Hayden, right on cue, demonstrates.
Yeah, one in the left corner, one in the right corner, another one in the right corner. You could have fit another 9 in there.
It only
but
takes
you're right.
a slight drop from the player in front and a slight raise from the player behind, and it can all turn around very quickly indeed.
That's why we love this game. And the way Rhys is playing right now, he's going to wish that there was no break. He wants to keep going. But he has to get this leg.
Well-timed fourth maximum from Dmitri van den Bergh, who piles on the pressure. And that pressure has told.
Great last start, though. He's forcing van den Bergh to go the 20 route for double 15. Oh, sensational from Dmitri van den Bergh. And after 10 legs, he does have that 4-leg gap. He closes out Rhys Hayden and gives himself breathing room. He's 3 legs away. Rhys Hayden needs to find the turbo boost. We'll be back in a few moments' time to see the culmination of this one.
Welcome back. You join us here on stage 2, where Dmitri van den Bergh has taken 7 of the first 10 legs in this 4th round tie against the amateur qualifier Rhys Hayden. It all started in style for the Belgian, a 170 checkout in leg 1. Hayden has grown into the match, I think it is fair to say, but he has an awful lot of work to do if he has hopes of being in the draw at the end of the evening for the 5th round of the FA Cup of Darts. We do have one man already there. Jelle Klaassen has beaten William Ball in 10-5 to progress on one of the outside boards in the other room. Board 328, being witnessed by a handful of lucky fans here. Over on the main stage, Gerwyn Price leading Danny Noppert 4-1. But here, Paul, Dmitri van den Bergh, well, it would take an absolute capitulation for him to surrender this lead, wouldn't it?
I think it's going to take a little bit of what you said in the first half, Murph, about Hayden going up and van den Bergh coming down and somewhat meeting in the middle. I think if that's going to happen, it's going to take misses at doubles from Dmitri and maybe Rhys taking out some combination shots. But the scoring from Rhys will have to be ramped up by maybe one extra treble every 2 or 3 visits.
After the 13-piece buffet that we brought you this afternoon, the menu for your evening meal here on stage 2 is Dave Chisnell against Willie O'Connor after this appetizer. Then we're into the meats in Minehead when Vincent van der Voort returns to this stage to take on Stephen Bunting before A really tasty tie between Krzysztof Ratajski and Chris Dobie rounds off the evening's action.
Which game's the fish course?
We've had the big fish right at the very start. Caviar for starters, eh? Could see a bullseye at the end of this. Don't need to. Double 8. What a shot that is. Maybe Rhys Hayden has just taken the break to have a little word with himself.
Wasn't much of a word because he was out back on the stage very quickly after that break. Sometimes that's all you need, just a few minutes or even a few moments. But statement of intent there from Rhys. Does throw that dart very, very hard. You wouldn't want to be in the way of many darts, trust me, especially when it's steel tip. But when it comes to Rhys Hayden and the way he plays, he throws that dart very, very powerfully.
His finishing is promising in this match. Rhys Hayden, he's thrown 12 fewer darts at double than his opponent, but has managed to nail 4 out of 9 attempts. Very respectable indeed. Just has found himself perhaps a visit behind for the majority of the match.
Yeah, not a good position to be in, really, against someone of Dmitri's experience at such a young age.
Dmitri's Belgian compatriot, World Cup of Darts teammate Kim Huybrechts is almost there against Ryan Searle. I'll be honest, I thought that Ryan Searle might take that one, but Huybrechts is 9-7 up.
Not over yet. I've seen people win from 9-7 down. Ian White doing well at 8-4 up against Harry Ward. That game between Keegan Brown and Daryl Gurney looks pretty tasty. On board number 8, 5-all.
So much of it can be about the draw. And I fancied Danny Noppert as an outsider before this tournament, but he's been pitched against the in-form world number 3 Gerwyn Price, who leads 5-2 on the main stage. Now Rhys Hayden has a real chance here on stage 2 to make a match of this.
Double 18.
85.
He's gone inside. And 143 for me is one of the more difficult shots. Got to go all over the board and you've got no choice. Just seems to me like since the break, Dmitri has fallen off a cliff a little bit.
Yeah, foot has been taken off the pedal and he's waving Rhys Hayden past. That's unfortunate. That's solid.
14.
But that was way off the pressure darts, and now Bergh, we may just see him take a breath here and realise that this could all but kill his opponent off.
Just guarantee yourself a shot at a double. He does. It's bull. And it's there. That's how you do it. When you get a chance like 86, you could well get the 54 to set up the double 16. But when things are a little bit edgy, why wouldn't you just go 2 single 18s, give yourself that chance at the bull and win the leg? That was so mature from Dmitri.
Well, that's the difference, isn't it? 3 darts missed to effectively stay in the match by Rhys Hayden, and 1 dart at the bull pinned by Bergh. And now he's ready to put his foot down again.
This is why he's so hard to predict, because in the last leg he was gone, he was out of the leg. We were talking about Rhys getting in touch, an 86 on the bull, then a 180, and all of a sudden his belief is back. It's like someone's pressed the on switch.
It has threatened to turn into a match, but every time that threat has arrived, Bergh has thwarted it. Don't have to be brilliant in every single leg, particularly over this slightly longer format. And Bergh has shown, well, a professional performance from the professional against the amateur.
You definitely don't have to be brilliant in every leg when you're 8-4 up as well. You've just got to be very good in 2 of them. And preferably, if you are the man with the 8-4 lead. You want to do those in the next 2 just to get it done.
Kim Huybrechts has got it done against Ryan Searle. 10-8 in the end. A very impressive win for the Belgian number 2.
Ian White very close to victory. 9-4 up on Harry Ward now. 1 leg away.
And the Belgian number 1 could soon be 1 leg away himself, because this is a huge ask for Rhys Lightning.
Comes up short on dart 1. And if Dmitri doesn't get the 60 with dart 1 himself, he may stay on the 20s for double 18, because he is a double 18 guy.
Never mind. Double 18, double 8 now the target. 2 darts at it. Only needs 1 and only needs 1 leg. The book is placed in round 5. Round 5, by the way, is the last 32 stage of this tournament. We'll see the last 32 tomorrow afternoon, the last 16 in the evening. And then on Sunday it goes to a 1-stage setup. We have seen some epic final days of action here in Minehead. Paul, you mentioned this afternoon that remarkable quarter-final session a couple of years ago.
81.
Yeah, when Raymond van Barneveld and Peter Wright played against each other, that was one of the best matches I've seen at Minehead. Peter went on to win the title, of course, on the bullseye.
That was when Gerwyn Price took out that 160 checkout in the last leg against Ian White, who looked like he might never get beyond a quarter-final in the PDC on TV. He's done that since.
Do you remember where you were when that was happening?
I know where I was. I wasn't here, actually.
I was painting a wall, watching the ITV coverage on my tablet. I couldn't believe what I was seeing, but Rhys Hayden can't believe what he's seeing. He's just getting the score checked.
Is there some kind of evidence on that wall, some kind of careless stroke that was a response to what you were witnessing on the screen?
Can't remember. I've sold that house now. Can't have been a very good paint job. It was me doing it. Bergh with a beautiful 140 to give himself a 1-dart lead in what could be the last leg of the match.
Hayden still in the leg, but I think it would be a stretch to say that he's really in the match.
43.
It might be a stretch to say that he's in the leg now.
Yeah, that treble 1 has gifted Bergh a huge opportunity to get this job done 10-4. And that 134 is just killer for Hayden's already thin chance of staying alive.
Well, it's an excellent run for Rhys Hayden, qualified through the Riley's qualifiers. He's managed to make his way through to the last 64 and earn himself £2,000. And his run is not quite over yet. Has the chance to produce a second 3-figure out. He's had 130. Now he wants 120.
Got to stay straight. That's perfect. That's only just in the single, but it's now a great single because the flight is not in the way. What a great shot. A show of defiance from Rhys Hayden. A fortunate single just over the top of that 60, which could have potentially bust his shot. But boy, did he take advantage of it.
Well, a journey of 1,000 miles begins with but a single step. Just a slight bit of confusion there. Dmitri van den Bergh rather sportingly not taking the opportunity to throw first in consecutive legs.
Always a good sign of where your mind is at when that happens. There's not a dart player on the planet who hasn't begun a leg that wasn't theirs at some point, or they've been pulled back by their opponent.
But the state of play here in the 4th round. Kim Huybrechts and Jelle Klaassen already through. Kyle McKinstry now leads Bradley Brooks 9-8. Ian White has not quite finished the job against Harry Ward yet. He leads 9-6, but Luke Humphries has surrendered a lead. He's now 9-7 behind against Andy Bolton. And Daryl Gurney is also trailing 7-6 to Keegan Brown.
That Brown-Gurney match, just toe-to-toe. Very intriguing. Yet again, Rhys Hayden from the north of the 300 spot is doing the right thing by using the 18s first. It could be something that Van den Bergh uses too. He'll stay there and try to get the 162, fails. But that's okay. Puts himself a dart ahead and forces Rhys to get himself into the finishing zone, which he will do now. He should do at least. He's going to be south of 100.
Second maximum of the match for Rhys Hayden, who on
94.
well at one time trailed this match by 5 legs. Was 9-4 down, and now could be about to close the gap to 3. Well, it was a 120 that kept him in the match. Will it be a 120 that sends him out?
Cruel twist of fate, maybe. It is tops. He's got to go to the right. And he gets it done. The cruel twist of fate is right there.
Dmitri Van den Bergh easing through to the second day of action here. The last 32 of the UK Open. Rhys Hayden has had an excellent day here in Minehead, an amateur qualifier, making it through to the 4th round and fighting back